Yeah, it's your boy Ray Ray on the mic. Let's go.
Creating a belonging workplace culture doesn't happen by happenstance. It happens by design. And how do you know if you're creating belonging within the workplace? Through your own leadership. One of the ways to do that is to measure belonging through the initiatives that you are partaking. Now, measurement is a phenomenal opportunity for us to ensure that we are walking the walk and talking the talk when it comes to creating a belonging workplace culture. Too often we look at our capabilities of creating a belonging workplace and think that staff members are just going to happen to meet together. They're just going to happen to gel and be in a harmonious environment. But that may not always be the case. It may always take a little bit of initiative and a little bit of intentionality to ensure that voices are being included and heard, a part of the decision, and shared power when it comes to creating that workplace. So you have to ensure that your efforts that you're putting out there is actually following through and walking the walk within your leadership. So what do you measure? How do you measure it? And what's an effective way to measure these things? I got 3 for you that you can leverage when it comes to creating a measuring belonging within the workplace. Number 1 is gathering feedback. Feedback is one of the it has to be a key way to understand whether or not you're creating a belonging culture. And feedback can come in multiple forms. As you are in your one-on-ones with your staff, you're asking them, hey, are you involved in the work that's happening around you? Do you feel like you have everything you need to be successful? Are your needs met? What are some areas that I can help improve in my leadership to ensure that you have everything that you need, right? Asking some questions through the one-on-one process is key. You can also set up some specific surveying and create a survey, or go out and find a third-party vendor that creates surveys and measure whether or not people feel safe, heard, and valued within the workspace. And you can ask a series of questions and distribute that out in multiple ways. You can also create focus groups and have create an environment where people are sharing. This is what I'm seeing and thinking when it comes to a certain effort and initiative, and create that environment too. And the last thing from gathering feedback is actually just truly listening, listening when you're rounding or when you're having conversations, and looking for keywords where people feel like that they are excluded from decisions, or feel like they don't have what they need to be successful, or feel like that their identity is being discriminated against, or they just do not feel safe in the workplace. Listening for those key indicators can help you know that whether or not your workplace is practicing belonging, and you can then take the efforts to rectify that or enhance it if it is creating belonging through your efforts and initiatives. Another key thing to measure is conducting exit interviews. Similar to one-on-ones and asking key questions to your staff, exit interviews are a great way to understand whether or not, as an employee leaves the organization, that they felt like they could, if they wanted to, come back and work for that institution. Now, we can't necessarily say that staff members are going to be in our organization for years, right? I don't think we necessarily want to encourage that. But while they're here, while they are part of the organization, they feel like they belong. And in your exit interviews, if you're asking key questions about DE&I, about their identity, about belonging, you can really gauge to see whether or not that employee felt during their tenure that they felt like they belonged. And if they didn't, then you can, again, similar to getting feedback from the surveys, you can then utilize that data to then turn around and say, oh, hey, we can make some changes here because this particular employee, or we have a group of employees who felt that their onboarding wasn't as inclusive as it should have been. So we can make some changes in our onboarding to make sure that new employees and new hires and retain them longer, because we're intentionally turning that data around into the workplace. Finally, is measuring the involvement your staff are a part of when it comes to certain initiatives. So when you put on an event, or when you ask for input or things like that, how many people are truly involved with that decision? Are the numbers low? Are the numbers high? Do you get a certain pocket of people who are communicating on a regular basis, or are you getting a diverse and a variety of folks, right? These things are really interesting to know, because there could be a voice that is not being heard in that decision or in that involvement. And then you can then turn around and say, hey, how do I go to where they are and ask them and engage them in this particular initiative, and not just assume that, oh, I got the majority of the people who are here. These are the ones that want to be here, and that it's inclusive and it's created a belonging space. When in actuality, you can actually take a look to see who is there, celebrate and be happy about that, but then turn around and go to where people are, with those who are not showing up, and just engage them and understand what it is that they need, again, to be successful. So those are 3 different ways that you can measure belonging within the workplace: by conducting surveys, by conducting exit interviews, and by measuring the involvement that people are showing up to the events and initiatives that you are a part of. And if you need help creating belonging workplace culture, or just want somebody to talk through some specific things that are happening within your workspace, I got a link in the bio that can help guide that can lead to a good discussion and conversation with me, and we can set up a consultation call to talk through what does it take to create an inclusive community where every identity belongs and thrives in your workspace. Let me know what you think about these Belonging by Design episodes. These real quick, tangible ways to create belonging within your workspace within 5 minutes. And as always, continue to share your stories with others, and I'll talk to you all soon. Peace.